Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and here we are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I want to give a warm welcome. You just heard Mr. Davis talk about his upcoming podcast on Saturday, tomorrow morning. It's at 10 o'clock. Please attend. You're going to hear from the best attorney around that is well qualified in juvenile family dependency law. That's the area that you're caught up in. So I also want to thank Mr. Davis for all the hard work he does. He does a lot of volunteer time. There are ways you can talk to Mr. Davis for free, such as being a guest on my podcast or calling into my podcast. You get a free 15-minute session. Also, if you see the ticket below my screen, you can go to a website and get 30 minutes of Mr. Davis's time for only $60. So there's 3 ways that you can come in there. So I want to give a warm welcome to you all. I know maybe it's been a long week, a long day. It's Friday. And normally I'm on earlier, but tonight my son didn't have a Friday night football game from high school. And so there's no game scheduled tonight. So I'm on my normal time at 7 o'clock. Normally I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and then again at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that is 7 days a week, twice a day. That's 14 shows. Now, with exceptions, on Saturday, tomorrow, I'll be coming on early at 8 o'clock so that y'all get a chance to hear Mr. Davis talk about and questions answers session about CPS. And on Sunday, I go to church, so I come on early at 8 o'clock. So on Saturdays and Sundays, I'm on early at 8 o'clock. If Vincent doesn't have a show, I'll go back to my regular time at 10 o'clock. And then next Friday, I have my football playoff game, and so it'll be Friday Night Lights, and I'll come on early about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. I am transmitting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. Now, there's about 8 rooms they're going to load, and it takes a while for them to come in. Sometimes they come in and duplicate up there. So hold off any comments yet until all the rooms have come in there. That way your comments will not get swallowed up and so forth. You'll probably see a number on my screen, 888-888-6582. I thought I'd address that. That number is to our office, Vincent W. Davis Associates. There you can ask for Mr. Davis. You can also retain him. If you already made up your mind you want him as your attorney, you can retain him right away. Also, if you need help in other areas of legal matters like divorce, criminal, real estate, workplace, insurance claims, any of those immigration, those kinds of things, he has an attorney for you. So that 888-888-6582 is a 24-hour number to Mr. Davis's office, Vincent W. Davis and Associates. It's a good number there. And so a little bit about CPS and what it stands for. A lot of people, it's different in every state and every county. It's a branch of social service that every state's mandated to have. And what I mean by that is that they need to protect our children from neglect and abuse. So Congress enacted a group called the Child Protection System. Every state is different. Every state is different. So, with that being said, I want you to know that they're supposed to make sure children are safe. And yes, there are children that a lot of times are in danger. 1,000 kids go unreported every day. 1,000 children, and that's a lot of people. Of course, we probably have in the states here close to 100 million people. I don't know. I was looking at the election results, and it was amazing that we had almost 80% of the population turned out to vote. That was amazing. Anyway, these social workers are supposed to be trained and supposed to be unbiased and are supposed to help. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. That hasn't been the case. What has happened is that these social workers have decided to make a lot of money off this. Not all the CPS systems are the same. I've spoken to over 500 people, and I'm sorry to say, well, actually 600 people, and I'm sorry to say most of them have something in common. They take their children, and they're not in danger. They also seem to get people that are low income or having hiccups in life. That's what they prey on. Because if you don't know how to fight CPS or deal with CPS, and you don't have money to get a lawyer, they're going to take advantage of you, because I hope you use the court-appointed attorneys, which are no more than legal lawyers that know criminal law but do not know dependency law. And they'll have a caseload of 30 more clients, so they're not going to be any good to you. And they're hoping you take the court-appointed attorneys. And most of you that get involved in that are those low incomes. It's not your fault. I mean, the economy has really been tough. I mean, things have gone up and doubled in food prices. And it's finally, this election showed the population told the country that we're sick and tired of not having the little people there and stuff. So hold on one second. I'm going to silence myself for a second. Okay, I'm back. I broadcast this from my home, and my son just came home, and I wanted to talk to him. I'm a family man. I've been married for over 42 years, 10 years my first wife, and then 32 years my second wife. I have 6 children, 3 older children, and 3 younger children. 1 in the 40s, 2 in the 30s, and then 2 in the 20s, and 1 in the teens. And that's the makeup of my family. And I love my family. Unfortunately, like yourselves, I got caught up in CPS. And I've been fighting them for 15 years. They took my children in 2015. In 2010, they were harassing me for 5 years of false allegations that I did not feed my children, did not bathe my children, did not provide clothing to my children, did not take them to school. And that was all because a layperson, or actually persons, it was a family, my in-laws, my wife's in-laws, were calling in against their daughter and me as her husband and saying things that weren't true. Once a week from Ohio, they'd say, oh, they're not feeding their children, or they don't take them to school. This went on week after week, year after year for 5 years. Unfortunately, what happened to me in 2010, through no fault of my own, I've been working for 45 years, and age 60, I was laid off. And it wasn't because I was laid off. I was off because I had all this contract work that I had picked up for the company. It was small. It was only 53 million. It was about a dozen jobs. But the state of California was going bankrupt, and they wanted to hold off giving the contracts out because they need to use that money, which is illegal. It would have cost me 50 million to go after 53 million. So the owner said, well, I got to close the doors on general contracting. So the state of California used my money to survive and didn't go bankrupt like Detroit, Michigan did. But anyway, I'm still out there getting a job, and hopefully now that we got a 78-year-old president elected, they will pick a 75-year-old hard worker like myself. I work in the area of civil engineering, but I have many different facets, and I'm not too old to work. I feel healthy, and I really need to get back to work in a career type of job. So, but I'm very blessed to have this podcast to do, and this is helping me out until I can find something that I do where I make lots of money. It's like, it's sad, but I work my hard like any job I've done all my life. If you think about it, I've been working for 60 years now. I started at 15 and I've not stopped. Yes, I've been in and out between jobs lately, but I'll be back to work again. So being a family man, and when we got married, 32 years ago, her family wouldn't come out even to our wedding. Even one of the members, her sister lived out here, wouldn't even show up. That's how much they thought of us. They were not thinking highly of us, and for a long time they've been trying to take our children. And so that's the sad part, what lay people can do with CPS. And you have to be careful of that. You have to be careful of that. So there's lots of things we can do on this podcast. We can interact. There's 4 ways you can do so. One of the first ways to interact is to be in this room. You found this room, and you can do emojis, thumbs up, smiley faces and hearts are much appreciated, as well as stars. Please check below to follow me and write comments as you do. And then also check the notification if you want to know when I'm on live. A second way is to text a message, either a comment or a question about CPS. And when you do that, please show your first name only, that's fine, your city or your county your case is in, and the state. Now, if you happen to be outside the United States, which I've had lots of people contact me, you have over 15 countries that have texted in, and several people from the same country, starting at Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, then the Middle East. I have Liberia, or no, not Liberia. I always get confused. It's Lebanon. Yeah, Lebanon, which is the Middle East, and Saudi Arabia. Then down to Africa. I've had Liberia on the west coast of northern Africa. Then Rwanda in Central East Africa near Lake Victoria. Mozambique on the east coast opposite Madagascar island there. And of course, South Africa, the west coast province there. Then up to Europe, I've had England, Scotland, Wales, part of the United Kingdom, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond, I've had North America. I've had many provinces of Canada and several people on the east and west coast of Canada that have texted in and called in. And then also I've had all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. It's not a state, but I've had them call in and tell me about their CPS case or texted or talked about it. And then south of the border, I've had Mexico. And then in South America, I've had Grenada on the east coast, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil. Then across the Pacific to the land down under, I've had Australia. I've had the Sydney area, the Gold Coast, which is the east coast of north southwest Australia. Then I've had the south coast of Melbourne and then it is in the state of Victoria. So those are the countries I've had, and I want to welcome um, Gav JV. God bless you too. Thank you so much. That means a lot to you. The people are listening, and I do want to help you because it is really a hard thing. So when you text your question, comment, and give your name and state, if you're from another country, please tell me your province as well as your state and your country, and try to be complete with your case. What that means is that you want to represent what your family is about. Now, besides your family, are both parents involved? Are both parents involved with the children? Are you a single parent? Also, are the parents the same biological parents? Or do you have multi parents? Those things are all important. Those are all important. And then also, um, what were the allegations? More detail than neglect or abuse. Right there. And then how were the children taken if they were taken? That's important to know too. And then what are the ages of the children, the sex of the children? And then where you at on your case? That's really important to tell me where you're at on your case. And so that's all you have to do. Now, a third way is to be a guest on my podcast. And that's really easy to do. I love having guests on my podcast. I have 9 or more people on my podcast, 9 or more people. All you have to do is um, pick one of my show times, the day and the night, just morning or evening, and you can say Saturday or Sunday, whatever it is. You're going to email it to Grace. She's my show producer. Again, I want to thank Grace for working hard behind the scenes. She's really good at what she does, and I really appreciate her what she does. Also, you just email Grace at grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. That's what you want to um, email her with your show times. She'll get back to you, and um, she'll give you the link. It's a StreamYard link to get on there. Don't lose it because you get knocked off. You can put yourself back on. She also will tell you what you can do and what you not can do. That is really, really important because, like, we tell them that there's no eating or smoking on the show. There's also no names of children, judges, or social workers. And then she'll tell you about other things too. She'll tell you about other things too. So, Okay. Now we have some people that have. Oh, another thing. If you're a guest on my podcast, you'll qualify for a free 15-minute session with Mr. Davis, a Zoom private meeting for free for 15 minutes. So try to be a guest on my podcast. Now, Gay is in the room right now. Do you think having Donald Trump as president, CPS abuse, and I don't know. It's one of those things that certainly was not going to help. I feel I could probably contact Donald Trump better than I could contact Harris or anybody else. I've tried to call the Capitol before. I have a girl in here who's worked with me. And we called the Capitol one day and we did get the switchboard operator. And then we tried to talk to a senator in New York. Left a message, never get back to me. But I have no problem. I mean, I think, we'll see how it goes there because he really wants to help people. And I think he'll do a lot of good right now. But we need to get everybody involved with CPS. Okay, you're from Los Angeles County. I'm glad that I know where you're at. That's a horrible county with CPS. Now, the fourth way you can be on my podcast is I'm going to put my phone number up. And that is my direct line to my office phone, 626 698 0990. And you can call that number, and I use the Vonage application. It's an internet phone application, and I can talk to you there. That would be no problem at all. And I don't know why my image keeps disappearing. I guess when I lean forward to read, it's doing that. So anyway, there's four ways, and we have Gav in the room from Los Angeles County, and then we have Lisa. We have a Facebook user. And it says here, I got to read it here because it's hard to read there. So I'll blow it up here on my screen. Okay, I want to attend, but I don't have that kind of money. So you can tell me how it goes and tell him I want to talk to him. I need to talk to him. I need him help. Give him my phone number and my email. Stacy Steger. Well, I'm welcome to have you, Stacy Steger, but you can talk to Mr. Davis for free. All you have to do is call my number and talk about your CPS case on my podcast, or you can be a guest on my podcast. And after that, I can tell you how to do it. And lastly, you can also pay for $60 for 30 minutes. I know money is really tight and it's really hard, the fight without attorney and so forth. I had money problems too. Unfortunately, not only when I lost my job, 7 years later, I lost my home because I had to sell my home to get money to hire Mr. Davis to bring back my children. So I know what it is with no money. I've been there, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling. Stacy. So we have Stacy that came in from Facebook, and we have Gav from Los Angeles County. And I really want to help you all. All you have to do is call in my number, and I can put you on the phone. You can talk about your case, and we can answer it. I'm looking up the internet because I guess when I lean in, I got to change that, I guess. Okay. I've told you how to interact with this podcast, and I think maybe tonight everybody's a little slow tonight, which is fine. It's Friday night, and some people are watching football games, and some people are not. I like to watch the team that's playing because the team that wins tonight will play our team next week. Now, there are 5 rules that have come up that will help your case in CPS. One of the first ones I mentioned is have an attorney. And a court-appointed attorney isn't the way to go. And you need to find someone that is juvenile dependency lawyer. That's who you need to find. And I want you all to think about finding that attorney, because the only way you're going to get your kids back is have an attorney. CPS has become corrupt, especially in Los Angeles County. There's over 600 people I've talked to at different parts of the states, and all of them. I've only had 3 people call in here that were workers that could talk about their case. Okay, I'm back on there. I do apologize for coming off there. It's a lot of commotion sometimes to work around your home. And sometimes people don't respect your privacy. Anyway, oh boy. I'm trying, Joe. I'm really trying. It is hard here. Okay, so I'm talking about my rule number 1 is get an attorney. And you got to find somebody, and then either get a credit line, sell a home, ask a family or friend. You need that, because these attorney is like fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. If you know anything about open heart surgery, you know you're going to get a professional doctor in. You're going to get a professional doctor in. And what I mean by that is that surgery, heart surgery, is very critical. Very, very, very critical. It's really hard. And I really recognize the monetary problem that you have. But I tried a court-appointed attorney. I got nowhere. They have 30 cases or more. They never have time for your case. They don't listen. They're only trained in criminal law, not in dependency law. And they just fresh out of law school, and they're not going to fight for your case. I finally had to sell my home to get Mr. Davis to represent me. And I had to also pay for an attorney for my wife. I had to pay for both attorneys. And with 2 attorneys, it's really expensive. The children, I let the court-appointed attorneys work with the children. I guess that was okay. If I really had to do it all over again, I would have got real attorneys for the children. Because it's sad how they manipulate you and use you. It really is sad there. So that's my rule number 1, is get an attorney. Now, he has 35 years experience. He is a trial attorney. He has fought CPS. In fact, he's done civil suits. Once your case is over, he can do civil suits and fight your case. And he's fought both federal and state and won millions of dollars. So he's the real deal. And he'll go over. He's from Arcadia, but he'll do in LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County. He'll go into Orange County, and then up north in Shasta County. He's also has a case in Oklahoma. He'll go to any states. The only thing gets difficult is when he goes out of the area, He has ground transportation and air transportation and a hotel and food. Those are his incidentals that are added on to the legal costs, and that's where it gets expensive. But I value my children. I value my family, and I went and fought. It was a hard fought 3 years. My wife and I is the worst thing we've ever fought in our life because we had her parents against us. They're writing all kinds of trashy things that weren't true. In fact, our caseworker took revenge on us. If you really want to know what a social worker is like, take a look at our social worker. Right now, she's collecting $20,000 per child per month. That's $60,000 a month. 300 children, with 100 parents, it can easily done. It's $6 million a month. So it's trillions of dollars that they're making in incentives and bonuses. And what she did, she was never very helpful with us. She was always interested in a Gucci purse, her eyelashes, her eye makeup, her clothing, her accessories, her BMW car. She was young. She was in her 20s. She never had a family before. She never had any training at the agency. It was sad. And on top of that, there was a part where my wife's sister and husband were trying to steal our daughter, trying to adopt her daughter. And so our attorney, which we had hired Mr. Davis, and along with her attorney, fought and asked the social worker, what kind of parents is her sister and her husband? Have they ever had domestic violence? And the social worker bragged and said they're beautiful parents, no domestic violence. And then they went ahead. Okay, Mike is muted. Mike is now. Okay. I have to be careful because sometimes I have the mic muted and I'm hoping you all can hear me. So, he's asking her the questions like how good are parents and so forth. And she says, they're wonderful parents. And then he asks him, have they had any domestic violence? And sure enough, she said, no domestic violence. Well, Mr. Davis had done his homework and brought out a folder full of reports, 30 reports about a half-inch thick of domestic violence, but also physical domestic violence. That's no place for a child to go to. That's no place for a child to go to. So she committed perjury on the stand. She could be sued. If I had $50,000, I could sue her right now. And unfortunately, I spent all my money on getting my 3 children back, or 2 of my 3 children back. But the social worker was so embarrassed. And then she told his parents, you're never going to see your daughter again. You know what she did? She told our 12-year-old daughter, who didn't know very much, that you can emancipate from your parents. You can divorce your parents, divorce your brothers, divorce your 2 sets of grandparents, divorce your uncles and cousins. It was terrible. Aunts, uncles and cousins, all that. And then change your name. Make sure you eliminate the whole name. She had a beautiful name. She was a beautiful child. And on top of that, they said for her to seal her birth certificate so that she could get issued a new birth certificate from the foster family that's going to adopt her. So they could say that she is her child. She got a new Social Security card, and it was really sad what she did. It really was sad what she did. And she's 22 now, and so far she has not come back to talk to either her mom or her dad. And it's sad. Our sons still see her and still keep in touch with her, but also the rest of our older children are not in touch with us either. This whole thing has ruined our family in more ways than one. It's financially put us in the doldrums. My credit is ruined. I lost a home I worked 45 years for, and I'm trying to struggle to get a career job, a job that will help me get back to getting our life back together. But that's the type of social worker that's out there. And if that's not enough, there are other social workers. I call them the pink ladies. Now, these pink ladies, were 8 women social workers that worked for Prescott, Arizona. And that's a small town in Arizona. That department's called the Department of Children's Services, DCS. And what was so sad about it was these social workers decided to buy pink t-shirts. Now, pink is usually recognized as the cancer awareness, breast cancer awareness. So they got the pink ladies, got the pink t-shirts. That's why I call them the pink ladies. And it was not cancer awareness they were trying to support. In fact, they had their own agenda. And what they did is they stenciled on the face of the t-shirts, "We are professional child kidnappers." And on the back, they put, "Parents, do you know where your children are at?" And they prayed around. Now, Prescott is known for the 4 Billy Jack movies. Billy Jack was an activist. He was protecting the Indians. There were several Indian tribes in Prescott. He also had a home for children without fathers or mothers. And it took place in the late 60s, early 70s. But here now, it's known about the pink ladies parading around in Costco, Walmart, Best Buy, Sears, all parading around. And, sporting this image. They're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, "Do you know where your children are at?" So with that being said, these social workers were fired along with the director. So 9 people were fired. That left the office down to 1 person to handle all the investigations, all the calls. It's too much for 1 person. So it ruined the child protection system in Prescott, Arizona. But that is a second example of what a social worker is like. They're very rude. They're not friendly. They don't believe in family reunification. You see, Congress mandated not only they're supposed to protect the children, they're supposed to help out family need of food and shelter and clothing and transportation and education and medical and even a job. Further, they're supposed to reunify if they need to break the children back because they're in imminent danger. Because it's been proven that the best children are the biological children. The best children are the biological children. Now, Stacy and Gabe, if you want to say something or call in, please call in to 626-698-0990. I know it's hard. Like we had one person on here, Paulette, and she for a long time couldn't say anything. That's how bad CPS had affected her. That's how bad it affected her. And then I've had my regular people, like they would usually come in. One was Danielle Walt, and she was actually part of my show as a host there, but she had an unfortunate experience where her son, when she was incarcerated and she got out of prison, they found out they had put her son into a special place for needy children. Her son had special needs. So he's transferred from Georgia to Texas, but then was lost. He turned 19, and when Danielle tried to get her son, they didn't know. And so he's been fighting. He's now 19. He turned 18. He'd been wanting to go to his mother, and his mother could be appointed guardianship. And that's what was trying to happen there. And I'm trying to look up something that it's not working here. There it goes. So Danielle has been in and off the show, but I'm hoping that she gets her son back. Now, there's another person from West Hollywood. By the way, Danielle is from Georgia, and Natalie is from West Hollywood, California. And she's been on our show a lot, and she had a really terrible experience where they actually arrested her and thought she was mentally unstable. But she worked out of that situation pretty good. After 72 hours, they'd already taken her children, which is sad. And then I have Faye. Now, Faye is a single mother, and she had a horrible case. Faye, as a small child and as a teenager, was in and out of foster care 5 times. She somehow got her high school diploma and a degree in nursing. While she's in foster care, she was molested, abused, raped. She was sexually trafficking, and she's also tortured by walking on rocks for long periods of time. She has a lot of medical issues today. So she got her nursing degree, and then she decided to have children. What mother wouldn't want to have children? So she had 2 children. She first had a boy, but he's a special needs boy. And then she had a daughter. Now, their difference in age is about 10 years apart. But CPS got wind of her foster care and wanted her children. So they told her, and including the judge, says you have to pick what child you want to keep. Now, the question lies is why can you be good for one child and be bad for another child? That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. How can you be good for one child and bad for another child? Anyway, she made the choice to take care of her special needs son, who's now in his 20s, and she's trying to be a guardian of him. They still hassle her. She opened her case again with the new group of CPS in Kentucky. They're very corrupt there, including the police, and a new director and so forth. And they re-looked at her case again, but they gave her the same answer that there's nothing they could do about it. She wanted to get a message to her daughter that she did not mean to give her daughter up. She loved her daughter. And it was really sad that happened. It's really sad. So anyway, that didn't amount to too much. Now, another one of my rules besides getting an attorney is you should have a notebook to organize your material in. It's very important to have this notebook. And this notebook is 11 inches by 8.5 inches. And it should be a 3-ring binder. And you should stuff it full of notebook paper. You should stuff it full and then get dividers. That way you can organize your legal papers and a very important document called the timeline, the incident timeline that tracks all the events that are happening during your case, because you're going to find yourself a year or two from now and you're going to need to look back and you won't remember everything. Now, the incident timeline starts on the first line, the date, the time, the location, the people involved with the incident. The second line is going to be what the incident was about. The third line is going to be what the outcome was. And then skip a couple lines. Now, if you don't have the outcome, that's fine. You can come back later and fill it out there. But you'll find that document, and that could be with the CPS people, the social workers, or the police, or the neighborhood family, or whatever the different kinds of people that you come across. So with that notebook, you could put your drug tests. You put all the parenting classes you completed. You can do your programs such as domestic violence and anger management. You can also put down any other things like legal information you find out and so forth. So you'll find that number 2, the notebook is a very valuable device. Now, Stacy now says it's really sad. I know it's sad. I feel you, Stacy. She says it's really sad. There are many parents like her going through the same, but can't get an attorney for help. I know that. But I also know that you eventually get help. If you come to my room long enough and listen to what I have to say, you can get your children back. You got to do certain things they ask. And you got to do research on the internet. Stacy. And right now I'm telling you things. Now, if you can't afford an attorney, you can try pro bono, which means attorney for free. And there are around there. Or you can talk about payment plan or something along those lines. Or attend Mr. Davis's free session. This Saturday, for an hour, he'd be talking about questions and answers. The other night, 2 nights ago, he had office hours for free. And on my podcast, he offers a 15-minute free private consultation with him. If you be on my show as a guest or if you call in. Yeah, hi, Tanya. I'm sorry, I was reading your email. I didn't know your name was Tanya. I only saw it there from LA County. Oh, you're from Illinois. Is there a second Facebook user here? This has got me confused now. I guess the first Facebook user was Stacy from Los Angeles. We have a second Facebook user, and she's Tanya from Illinois. Welcome, Tanya. And I know you try everything. I did the same thing. I did exactly what they told me. And I tried to fault the director, and I went all the way down. I met with the director of Orange County. He works out of his own private office, which is the Taj Mahal of India. It's a 14-story building just for him. It looked like the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. And he was gross. He did nothing. I'd love to have you be on your show. Tanya from Illinois. I love you to be on my show. All you need to do is email my show producer, Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Pick one of my 14 shows, morning or evening, Sunday through Monday, and you can be on my show. I believe you've had 2 lawyers. Problem is, most people don't know how to pick a lawyer. And that is where the bad thing is. It's so important to get the right kind of lawyer. And there should be 2 questions. Listen to me, Tanya. Question 1, you ask a lawyer, do you have juvenile family dependency law background? First question. If the answer is yes, you're going good. Second question, have you ever fought CPS and won a lawsuit, either in state court or federal court? If the answer is yes, you found a winner, because most attorneys won't fight CPS. Most attorneys won't fight CPS. And that's why you need to filter it that way. You know, if they fought CPS and won cases, then you say, I like to speak to the person that hired you and won a CPS case. And there you go. It takes hours upon hours or phone calls after phone calls, but eventually you'll find somebody out there. You will find someone out there. Okay, I'll repeat again. You asked the first question. You asked this lawyer or the office you're calling, does this lawyer have experience in juvenile family dependency law, fighting cases in that law? The answer is yes. The second question is, have they ever done a civil lawsuit against the child protection system and won, either in federal or state court? If the answer is yes to those are good. Now, hello, Jan. I think you've been on before. Breaking news earlier. A dad almost beat breaking news earlier. A dad almost beat a that sounds pretty bad. I didn't hear about that one. John, where are you from, John? The email address, that is Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentwdavis.com. A child social worker. Okay. Okay, I'm not doubting you, John. But I don't know if that's going to help solve things by beating up a social worker. I don't know if that's going to get your children back. John, what city and state are you from? You're welcome, Tanya of Illinois. There are 2 Facebook users. There's Tanya and Stacy of LA and Tanya of Illinois. Violence, I don't think, is the solution to anything, because we need to concentrate on getting our children back. Okay, all right. You're not promoting it. Okay, I'm glad, John. I'm glad. You're from Pasadena, California. Do you have a CPS case? Do you have a CPS case you'd like some advice on or some help? John from Pasadena, California. Oh, Palmdale. I'm sorry, Palmdale. That's in LA County. Palmdale, yeah. I was reading that as Pasadena. I'm sorry, John. John is from Palmdale, California. It's kind of a desert community out there. They do a lot of space building out there and so forth. But I'm so sorry that you have a case out there. I will look up after the show about a social worker being beat up by a dad. I mean, there was a month ago that a sheriff in Kentucky came in and shot the judge because the sheriff's you see, how was it? The sheriff had a daughter, and the judge was having his way with his daughter. And the sheriff in Kentucky could not. This is Richmond, Kentucky. You can look this up. A sheriff had a young daughter, underage, and the judge was having sex with his daughter. So he came in the room on a Thursday in the judge's chamber and killed the judge. Now, I don't know what the outcome has been, but I tell you, there are horrible cases. I don't know if any of you knew about Nancy Schaefer. She was a senator in Georgia. She's an advocate of CPS. She wanted CPS abolished and started all over. She was murdered too in her 70s, and she fought for a long time for CPS rights. And they've been trying to cover up and say that her husband committed suicide and her husband killed her. But everybody knows what the truth is. So there is sad things about CPS. It's a horrible agency to deal with. I have gone through hell and back and many times over. So I know how you feel, John, and anybody else that, doesn't like that at all. You don't have a case open on you. Well, thank you, John, for sharing that to me. And her husband was murdered. That was terrible. That was terrible. I agree, it is. The trouble with two Facebook users, I can't tell whether you're Stacy or Tanya. There's no way to tell me. So if you can have your name in your room, that would be helpful. Oh, what was the outcome, John? What happened in the end? What was the outcome, John? We have about 2 minutes left of my podcast. It's already after 8 o'clock. I started a little bit late. They terminate your parental rights from me and the mom. Oh, that is sad, John. Could you come on again, John, and talk about that case as a guest on my podcast, or call in? My number somehow has disappeared. I think it was stuck because I left a Facebook user on that there. So I don't know how to turn it around. You can by talking on the show. I can help you. I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 shows, 14 hours a week. I can work with you. And I don't mind if you call me every night or every morning. I will work with you. Well, tomorrow I'm going to be on at 8 o'clock in the morning. Vincent has a special podcast, which he's going to tell you in a few minutes. I got to play that little blurb right there. So I'll be on at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is your time, John, because you're in Palmdale. I want to thank John from Palmdale. I want to thank Tammy from Illinois. I want to thank Stacy from Los Angeles. And then I want to thank, there's one other person in here too. I want to thank Gabe. Yeah, Gabe. And I think you're from, I forgot where you're from. I don't know if you ever told me or what. You're calling from Los Angeles County. Gabe is from Los Angeles, California. So thank you all. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. God bless you all. Keep fighting for your case. And please listen to the message that will follow me, that will follow my departure.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.